Oh, God.
What are we doing?
Pain and misery.
That's not bad.
Pain.
There you go.
Pain.
Pain. My voice is dead for some odd reason.
No, it's not.
It feels
Pain.
it.
Yes, that's fine.
Oh, you feels it. Not that it's
feels
not
it.
picking up. All right.
This is going to be the entire podcast.
Okay, listen up, this is how it goes down. You listen to the best geek podcast in town. Gonna spit a few bars to let everybody know that you're tuned into the Geek Yoga Podcast Show. There's Som, the man, the myth, the nerd, with his mate, their wave to take over the world. Can't forget my man Rah Rah, who can't do a cha-cha, but he's got all the girls ready to show off their tatas. And the man called, well, his name is Knock, who's a full-time geek from his head to his socks. These guys are crazy, people say that they're loony, just as insane as casting Batman as Clooney. So here is the show taking all the rest to task. It's now time for the Geek Yoga Podcast. Bitch.
And welcome to another episode of the Geek Yoga Podcast. I'm Rah Rah.
Wave.
And Mr. Reed.
Ooh. I think that's going to be like intro theme music for you all the time. Like whenever you come on Mystery, we always got to do ooh.
I'm all about that.
Good, because it's happening.
Sick. You all about that bass?
I'm all about that.
Are you all about that bass?
What the fuck?
I don't know. This is a weird night.
Yeah, agreed. So, in terms of a weird night, we have a not so weird topic for this podcast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, lately it's kind of seems like it's weird. So we're getting back to our roots.
Yeah.
We're doing games.
Yeah, that's crazy talk.
Gaming.
Usually we're just bitching about stuff. But
Yeah,
we might
yeah.
actually have something good to say this time.
Gonna roll the dice, bitches.
Yeah.
All right, what are we starting with?
Well, why don't we start with something that could totally exclude mystery? How about Warhammer 40k?
That's perfect.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
going to go look at my phone.
There you go.
For in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. May the
Sorry,
God
that
Emperor
was
protect
Star
us.
Wars.
Star Wars.
Sorry, that was
Yeah.
bad. That was terrible. Sorry.
Yeah,
Tried to
that-
go gothic, but I forgot how to.
I mean, Games Workshop ripped off Star Wars for among like 1,000 other different properties, so close enough. So we're a little bit in. I like a little bit. We missed doing this podcast by what, 4 or 5 months?
Well, you have to get games in order to really be able to critique it. So,
8th edition for Warhammer 40k hit back in July.
right,
It was, July 17th was launch day,
right.
if I remember correctly. And in fact, as of when we're recording this, it's the day before the new Astra Militarum Imperial Guard Codex comes out, which I am psyched for. Oh my god, I cannot wait till tomorrow to get that.
Right.
But so 8th edition shook up everything. There, in between the editions, you could still use some of the old rules. People are still playing with 6th edition books during 7th edition.
Right.
But 8th edition, no, everything had to go. Burn it to the ground. They had to release indexes so that you could play your armies starting day 1. And now they're slowly releasing the codices.
Right. Well, the whole impetus of this was that they wanted to streamline the game system. Okay? And they actually did a little bit of a dry run with this by releasing Age of Sigmar, which uses a very similar system, where you have battle scrolls, I think they are.
War Scrolls.
War Scrolls, there you go. War Scrolls. I've played only a handful of games of that. War Scrolls were basically all the rules and information you need for that particular unit is on like a third of a page of like standard 8.5 by 11. Okay, so you don't need this giant rule book for charts or special rules or anything like that. All the special rules are contained in that little war scroll. And even though, from what I gather, Age of Sigmar is okay, its popularity wasn't what they hoped it would be. They decided to apply what worked with that system onto Warhammer 40k. So, in that under that idea, we go from a 100-page rule book. Granted, a lot of that's like fluff and shit, but they used to come out with all these big rule books.
Yeah.
To 4 pages of actual useful rules.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
And Now, when we say streamline the process, we mean
Blah, 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 blah.
so a
Mr. E is doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
His tongue is flicking around. I think he's tasting the air looking for prey. I don't know.
I'm just impressed that anybody can remember 100 pages of a rule book. It's just,
who said we remembered it?
no, that's a good point.
There was a lot of page flipping, which, among many other things, is what contributed to, back during 7th edition and before, a 2,000 point game could take up to 4 or 5 hours to play.
Right.
That's just one game. Now a 2,000 point game is hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half.
2
maybe
hours.
2. This edition is very killy.
Oh yeah. Actually played a game a couple weeks ago. It was just a 750 point game. I lost 1.5 units in the opening salvo. I didn't even get to use them.
Yeah. I mean, and I've played a handful of games, too, with the new rule set, and I'm usually down to about 1 to 6, probably about 6 models by the time we're done.
Yeah.
So, that's by turn 6. We should also throw this in there, too, that this was like a very community, I guess, created game. And what I mean by community is they have the people who make the game, then they had the tournament organizers come together, along with like other game testers and stuff surrounding that. And they put these rules together in a way to make it fun, quote unquote, for everyone. For everyone being the people who like to go to the tournaments, and for the people who like narrative play.
Yeah. There's 3 ways to play now. Open, narrative, and matched. Now, what this means is open play is you have models, I have models, throw them on the field, fight. Like, it's just a straight-up game. Yeah. Narrative is, like what I was doing the other week. One of my friends is running a 40K campaign, and so each of our battles actually has a theme going with it, depending on what our characters are doing in the campaign. For instance, for that battle, I was limited to I needed to have certain models with me on the field, and we're getting you get certain bonuses or whatever because of the story that you've built around this. And then matched play is going to be your tournament play. That's hard.
What we're used to.
Yeah, you have this many points. You build this. You fight.
Yeah,
there are missions to go on.
Yeah,
you have to. There are more restrictive rules. I mean, overall, it took a little bit to get used to, but, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, too. Even though there are some things in it which really don't make much sense in terms of how the game used to play. And I'll give you a quick example. The Eldar race, are supposed to be not as hardy as, say, Space Marines, who are these hulking humanoids.
The Eldar are space elves.
Yeah, essentially they're space elves. But as a counterweight to that, their technology is mad good. They're really fast, and they're usually they're usually better well trained than, say, your average human or even Space Marine. That sort of has gone away in this more simplistic system. So essentially, if you were to fight, say me and Mr. E were to fight each other, what determines how
I'd win.
What determines whether or not we hit one another isn't necessarily how good your opponent is too as well compared to how your skill. It's basically all based on your skill. So there's like essentially no defense other than the standard armor save, which are still in the books.
Yeah. Now it should also be noted with stuff like the Eldari though that we have yet to get a codex on them.
Yeah.
So we're going with the indices that were released. There were 5 books that covered every army in existence. Mm-hmm. And they had massively simplified rules.
Right. Gone are the armor facing values.
Well, by the massively simplified rules, what I mean is so the Space Marine section, in the Codex, you have special rules to use if you're playing a Salamander, if you have a Salamander's army or an Iron Fist, depending on what chapter, what type of Space Marine you're playing. Those weren't in the index. You had to wait until the Codex, which I think a lot of the very fluffy ways that the Eldar fight, I think a lot of that's going to be addressed with special craft world rules when we get an Eldar Codex, which from the rumors I'm hearing should be towards the end of the year.
Right. I mean, no doubt that they're focusing more on fleshing out the individual factions to make them feel, and this I think is part of how they had players involved in creating the new rule set, so that different armies feel different, so that say I have a different faction of Astra Militarum or IG, they don't play the same way yours does, with just maybe a minor rules tweak.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna feel like different armies. They're gonna play like different armies, which I think is really good in terms of selling new models and books.
Oh, yeah.
So that part is okay. But some of the other things where they've streamlined the rule sets and stuff, I'm starting to get used to them and appreciate what they are trying to do. But again, I think with any kind of simplification of rules, you're going to lose some things that made certain things unique in the game.
All right.
So.
I will say one rules change that they made that I do love, just because, and it can be debated whether or not it works with the fluff, with all the stories and stuff, is the fact that anything can hurt anything.
Mm-hmm.
So under the 7th edition rules, you roll when you went to shoot something. You rolled a d6, compared it to a chart, see if you hit, and then you rolled another d6 compared to a different chart to see if you actually wounded the thing. Because you could hit the thing, but it bounces off armor or something.
I think they actually had a rule: our weapons are useless.
Yeah, there was actually a rule where if you're in close combat, you can attempt to run away because, quote, our weapons are useless. And you run into, and you would run into this stuff where, and I had this happen. I didn't think too hard about the fact my opponent was bringing Eldar Wraith Knight. Wait, Wraith Lord?
Wraith Lord.
Wraith Lord is a smaller one. The Knight's the bigger one. That always gets me. Anyways, he was bringing a Wraith Lord, and I brought some stuff to fight it, but I only brought 2 or 3, maybe 4 weapons in my little army. And I got to the point where, because he killed off those 4 guys, I couldn't touch the thing. Mm-hmm. And at that point, basically game is over, unless you're playing an objective arm. Unless you're playing a mission where you're trying to secure objectives. Mm-hmm. If you're playing a straight open war, which me and my friends do a lot, at that point I'm done. I can't hurt them. Mm. But the fact that now in any game you are still useful. There's the biggest one of the biggest running jokes in 40K is the Imperial Guards, the Astra Militarum, how essentially their armor and guns are flashlight and cardboard. Mm-hmm. I mean, the last gun may as well be a flashlight. And for the most part, back in 7th Ed, it would not hurt a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And even now, it's not likely to bring down something huge like a Wraith Lord, which, I mean, to be fair, a Wraith Lord is 3 stories tall, mm-hmm. swings a sword as big as a tank. Mm-hmm. But because you
I've
can...
seen bigger.
Yeah, and your boyfriend.
Well, but the idea is that
a lucky shot,
right? If you're spending $50 on a unit, they wanted that unit to be useful throughout the course of the game and not have something just be a sacrifice unit, a speed bump unit, if you were, so that something else could get up to it and actually defend your lines or whatever.
Well, and that's why I love.
And that's really cool because it lends itself to story too.
Yeah.
Lucky shot or produces some kind of ingenuity that.
Yeah, I mean, my 10 guardsmen can make a last stand, and who knows, maybe I get lucky. They're only going to wound it if I roll a 6 on my die. But you know what? Maybe I get really lucky, and of those 10, I roll 4 6s.
Yeah.
And holy shit, that was the last 4 wounds that thing had, and they bring it down.
Yeah.
That's cool. And as the stuff like that also really lends to excitement in the game. I played a game of Kill Team, which is 40K on a very much smaller scale. Instead of dealing with 5 or 6 units of models, which have 5 to 10 guys each, you're dealing with maybe 6 guys, and that is your army. And I was in a 3-way match. I was the first one out, but I got my licks in, and one of the players was playing Chaos. He had 2 cultists who hunkered down in a bunker, and I mean, these 2 assholes took out 3 of my Deathwatch Space Marines. They were taking out most of my friends' Eldar until they finally died. They took, between these 2 cultists, which are some of the weakest units in the game, cultists. I mean, they are literally designed to be a speed bump, a sacrifice.
Right.
Even in the fluff. These guys took down 3 of my Space Marines. and they took down another 4 or 5 Eldar snipers.
Right.
Just hunkered down, and like it was like even after I was out, like I was still rooting for them because this was awesome. Like you have these 2 guys just hunkered down, and like this is what really gets you into the game. Like holy shit, we actually painted kill tallies on them after the match.
Cool. Well, that's the cool part of this system is that there's a huge focus on narrative, which is really how you're going to retain players. I think like they have this. They just spent $500 on their army, and to get wiped out in turn 1 for no reason, just kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. But even if they still they still die that way. Perhaps it'll be in like a dramatic way.
Yeah,
and it'll be interesting to see because in a week and a half, I'm going to a competitive format tournament in PA. So it'll be interesting to see if this stuff translates to a meta where everybody's like, this point will yield me this many kills. You know, that kind of thing, as opposed to just saying, "Oh, okay, giant robot walks across the board," you know, kind of thing. So I
really like what I'm playing.
I'll come back and maybe comment on that maybe that weekend. But staying on the science fiction front, maybe we can move on to Mr. E.
Hey,
his thing.
So I have been playing way too much Destiny 2.
What's that mean?
Destiny?
Well, no, way too much. Define.
Way too much. It came out, about a month ago, and I pretty much no-lifed it. I have one thing to do before I platinum the game, and that's just a PvP thing. I just need to win one PvP match.
So in other words, you need to get good.
No, it's not that. It's just I just need to decide to do it.
Well, how many hours did this take you?
Oh, I don't know.
Is this one of those games where it's like you're not done, and I'm just saying this just because, you know, listeners, where it's like a 14-hour game and you're done? Or is this like, you know, Mad Max and like Fallout, where it's like you can play this thing for 70 fucking hours and not get done?
Well, 70, that's cute. In Skyrim, I've got over 1,000. I mean, and there are probably listeners with 3,000. Like, there are some games where it's damn near infinite.
Yeah. The original Destiny was straight up meant to be like an infinite playing game.
Oh.
Okay. It's all about the grind. You keep getting better guns, better rolls.
There's no Apex there? There's like nothing that...
There is kind of an Apex. I'm saying this to compare the two, because in Destiny 1, there was random rolls. There was random perks on your armor and gear and stuff. So one person's shotgun of the same name could be way better than somebody else's of the same name. It was all kind of luck of the draw. In Destiny 2, they got rid of that. So if you have the same gun, then it's going to have all the same perks on it. And unfortunately, that kind of kills part of the game. So part of what kept people coming back to the original game has been lost in Destiny 2. And right now, if you ever go look at the Destiny the Game Reddit, holy crap, the salt is real. Like it has gone from being this like honeymoon period of, oh, thank God, new game, new content, I love it, to, oh shit, there's nothing left to do.
Oh.
So the community manager, Deej, he's put out a statement the other day after they have a weekly newsletter to the fans, basically. And he put out a statement saying, hey guys, I just want to say on a personal statement, my end game is the friendships I've made over the years.
Oh, that's nice!
And people were like, fuck you, you need an actual end game.
Oh.
Yeah, which
that's sad.
I understand the
You can't be a nice guy in video games. The fuck's wrong with you?
Well, the truth is that I have met, personally, I have met some people on this game who are really great people. They seem like really good people. Like, they're online, so I can't know for sure. But just
You're actually playing with. I hear Charles Manson has a controller now.
Yeah. Well, I was hitting a face while you were beating that game.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see it, so it's okay. But yes, the community, for the most part, has been good. Like, I haven't really had more than one or two really shitty people that I've ever had to interact with in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's really cool. But on the other hand, that does not make up for the game not delivering where it promised it would.
So that was the marketing of this? Was that it was going to be as big and limitless as Destiny 1?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Straight up. That was
Uh-oh.
what they were talking about. There
Uh-oh.
was interviews with them saying how they're going to try and make it so that getting that same gun will feel better. Oh, it'll be a different gun every time you get it, basically. And then they didn't do that. They have the bones of a great game. They have like a modification system.
Bones.
They have a modification system so you can add stuff to your weapons. But it's really minimalistic as it is. So it doesn't really add anything.
Now the weapon drops. Is this... And I have not played either Destiny. Like, I haven't been around with these games. I don't own an next gen, so I'm just gonna make up gun names.
Okay,
we're gonna pull shit out my ass.
Yeah.
If I have the TK Annihilator 64,
That sounds about right.
and you pick up a TK Annihilator 64, are ours gonna be the exact same?
Exactly the same.
Okay, so this isn't like Borderlands where we could have two guns named the same, but mine has one elemental damage, yours has another, mine has...
Well, that's what the modification system is supposed to do.
Okay.
So there are 3 elements in the game.
Well, no, I was just curious if we would start with the same base weapon, but I can make mine different through the mod system.
Right, and that's
Okay.
that's the promise. Like, that's the future
Yeah.
promise. Hopefully, in the future, they'll add some stuff to it to make it so that those modifications add extra perks to your weapon or something along those lines that make it worthwhile. But as it is, all they do is change your elemental. Yeah, so it's not really worth it.
So I can't strap a chainsaw to my TK Annihilator 64.
Not yet. That would be pretty.
We'll go all Gears of War on this.
That would actually be a good point though. If you could add something that makes it so your melee does more damage to a weapon, that would be cool. But they don't have that at the moment.
Glorious chainsaw method.
Now, is this stuff in the works, or there's no chatter coming out of that camp at all?
And that's the problem. There's been recent talk in the Blizzard community with Overwatch about how developers are scared to talk back to their community because the community is so toxic in their response. And Destiny is proving this point to a T, sadly, but Overwatch has been pretty bad recently as well. They're scared because they're getting death threats and shit over these video games. And they're labors of love. They really enjoy it. They love making these games.
Right.
But people...
It's just a fucking game.
Yeah, they make it their life. And...
I mean, that's the thing. There is loving a game. Like, I love Warhammer 40k. I love playing Skyrim. I love the Fire Emblem games. You know, stuff like that. Fucking, I'm not sending a death threat to somebody because, you know, Fire Emblem Warriors is coming out a month later on 3DS than Switch.
But don't people, like have channels and stuff, like Let's Plays and those kind of things, where they make money off this shit?
Mm-hmm.
So, in essence, it's sort of their livelihood, if that's what they do.
Some people. But those people generally are not the ones that are anonymously posting death threats to developers.
Also, at that point, I can't really fault the develop. That's like if I do street racing and I make my money off street racing. Well, because Ford hasn't... Yeah, I know, I said Ford. American cars, bitches. Anyways, because Ford hasn't put out the latest version of their car, like, I shouldn't be saying death threats to them because they're delaying putting out a new version of a car so that I can drive it better.
Well, I'm just saying, like, from their perspective, like, the first Destiny was more open, right? Which you could play, and it was more limitless, right?
I wouldn't say more open, but more limitless.
More
There
limitless.
was more to do with it.
So you could literally play that over and over and over, and people could watch, in a sense, pay to watch you play.
And the
Whereas
rewards
this
were-
one, if you reach the end where there's like no more, and their viewership drops off because it's just repetitive at that point.
Yeah.
That I could see could upset someone.
Yeah.
But
even
I'm just
yeah,
playing
I
devil's advocate
know
here.
I know you're not defending.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I'd also still say, look, if you have a Twitch channel, and you're doing it, you know what? It's one of these. You're not an employee of Bungie.
Mm-hmm.
You're not an employee of Bungie. They don't owe it to you to put out more content so you can make more money off of their content.
Agreed.
Like, you know, that's basically the way I see it.
Just pick another fucking game.
Because I'd see it as, like, if we actually somehow got paid to do this podcast, I would not hold it against Marvel.
Yeah.
If Marvel, how come you haven't put out a new Spider-Woman series so I can talk about it and make money, damn it. You know, like...
Yeah.
And part of this is, I mean, like I said, I almost platinum the game, but I have put a lot of time into it.
Yeah.
The game's already paid for itself. Like, it's sub $1 per hour at this point for me. Like, I've played it that much, and I've enjoyed it the entire time. But now that I've hit the end, there is nothing to do.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there should be more, but at the same time, I got my money's worth.
Okay. I mean, that's what it really comes down to in the end. If you feel like this movie wasn't just... Not movie. This game. Holy shit!
Whoa!
This game wasn't a waste of your time and your money.
It's definitely not a waste of your money.
Job.
It's very fun. It has a focus on story that the original Destiny didn't. As a base game, compared to Destiny 1 at its start, it's way better. I think in a month or two, it'll actually be... I think it'll fill out. I think there'll be more strikes. I think there'll be more stuff to do at the end. I think they'll take the community feedback, which is really strong right now, and actually make something of it. Whether they do that to the extent the community wants, I mean, I don't think they'll ever really hit what the community wants.
Well, they never will, because the second they meet any expectations, it's going to go further.
Yeah.
The community's going to want more. The community is insatiable. And this is with any game. Like, you know, I replay games all the fucking time. This is what... I'm poor, I can't afford to keep buying new ones. And so usually if I'm buying something brand new, it's something I fucking love. Again, like Fire Emblem. But until then, and yes, I would love to have a new Fire Emblem game out every month to be able to pick up and be like, yeah, all right, let's play this. Let's go through this again. But, you know...
That's a lot to do every month.
There's no way that there'd be turnaround like that. Like, the work involved in that, and hell, even the... You know, and that's the other thing, because with a lot of these communities, where they want every single game to be limitless when they buy it. And I get that they kind of advertise based on, hey, this is going to be as big as the first one, but a lot of players seem to want every game to be WoW, to be EverQuest, to be Guild Wars, whatever. Your MMO of choice where there's always content, there's always new content. But you know what? Sometimes you have to pay the $60 and go, hey, this was a good game. You know, like Tomb Raider. It ended. Okay, I can run around the island or play through the story again, you know, like...
Right. And I understand that desire for your game to never end.
Yeah.
Like, I want to live in that world. The world building they've done for Destiny is fantastic. There's so much lore.
Creepy. Fuck, dude! If I could live in Skyrim, I would.
Right. I mean,
by the way, I just did my dollar per hour on that. As of right now, I have paid about 2 cents for every hour I have played.
Oh, yeah, that's fucking awesome. That's amazing.
I rounded slightly up on how many hours I've played, but I'll catch up to that within the month. So
yeah, so when you think about it that way, it's like, oh man, it's a lot. But I play too much.
What you gotta do is start calculating out how much money you've paid for each kill and each type of kill.
Wow. It would be like negative sense.
Since we're talking about money, this kind of dovetails into what I wanted to talk about, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, please, get away.
Which is Uncharted 4.
Oh,
right?
Great.
I bought the steel case. The steel case, and the season pass, which was supposed to include additional content at the end. Okay?
But
that never came about. Now, granted, there was an online mode, which I'm not really big on, so that did come with it. But there were supposed to be other stories that could take these characters on later on, and that sort of disappeared about 4 months after I bought it.
So what did you get for the season pass?
For the season pass, I got Lost Legacy, which came out about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago.
2 months.
Yeah.
A month and a half.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I don't feel like I got taken. I would have liked something else to go with Uncharted 4, because I would have bought this as a separate game because I'm a fan of the franchise. But seeing as I got that as a download for free, I guess it worked out okay in the end. So again, I think that probably was community driven too, because I'm sure there were more than one person, i.e. me, that said, "I bought the season pass. Where's all this goddamn content?" And then if Sam were here, he was actually following that line of PR for the game. And telling me that, oh no, there's going to be an update. Oh no, there isn't. Oh, I think they're going to make it a whole game. So, because he knows I fly off the handle sometimes, he was talking me down.
Well, so what were you expecting for content originally?
Well, there's more characters in 4, right? There's his brother. There's Nadine. Great characters, and they were supposed to go on other missions. You could play as them instead of just having them be like friends of Nathan.
That's
His
cool.
brother Sam. They were supposed to go on missions of their own, be playable characters. And in the online version where you can battle out with other people, those are playable characters. So I could be Sam, Nathan's brother. You could be Nathan, and you could be Chloe.
I won't be Chloe.
You could be Chloe.
Okay.
And Mr.
I was fine with that.
Mr. E could be Nathan. And
I always place the girl.
And they would take one of their very well built scenes, castle, ruins, whatever, and we would duke it out on there for objectives.
Cool.
Versus other people online.
Oh, that's fine.
And then it was sort of a weird.
Does it just have 100 people playing Chloe?
Well, I played a few of them
Yeah.
where there was probably 12 of us on a board because I think there were 6 playable characters, and you could do things like play with all the guns in them that are in the game, but they also each had special abilities that you could capture. So one of them was henchmen. So you'd play a special ability, and then 2 of Lazarevich's guys with big Gatling guns would come out on your side and start mowing people down.
Cool.
And then there were other things where it's you could play curses, from the first one, it was Eldorado's curse, and then you would throw that, and this storm of illness would go out and knock down people's health within a certain radius.
Cool.
So they had things like that, so it played more like a game.
True, but at the same time, you still have to be playing online with other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, you're talking a
So-
PvP game
yeah.
for a game.
Yeah, and if
Right.
you're not into that, I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm sure I've mentioned before, I avoid online multiplayer like the
Yeah.
fucking plague.
I only played that because it was free and it came as a beta.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
looking more forward to the additional story and gameplay,
Yeah.
which is why I like the series, and that never came. So as a result, they dropped Lost Legacy, which I'm glad they did that because at least it gave me something. Because I was watching nervously when this thing was going to come out because I wanted to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
So it finally came out, and it looks like they went all in because, traditionally with the games, it is beautifully made. I mean, right down to water effects and the cinematic sequences. They're just amazing. And as usual with Naughty Dog in this series, the voice acting is tremendous. I mean, it's just so drives the story so much. It's just.
I mean,
just
the way
fun-
they do their
fun to play.
animation is amazing.
Right.
I
You know?
mean,
It's like watching a movie.
well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, they motion capture everything.
And the weird thing with this too is these characters are not Nathan and his brother, so they actually did different animations for when you fight as Chloe. So whereas Nathan's more like a brawler, Chloe uses more martial arts, so her moves look that way,
Cool.
as opposed to just standing up and just punching a guy in the face.
Haymakers.
Yeah, exactly. It's not haymakers like Nathan throws.
Yeah.
She tries to use moves. So I'm glad they thought that much through.
Yeah.
Do you get to fight as Nadine too?
No, which was disappointing.
Man, she was a badass.
Yeah. It was really cool, and I mentioned this to Sam. It's you're doing a little sneak up where you can choke guys out or whatever, and there's a sequence in it where you're sneaking up. She goes, "You take the one on the left, and I'll take the one on the right." And so, and then you as the character go, "Okay, on 3, 1, 2." She runs out, kicks the guy off the edge, and grabs the other guy and snaps his neck. So that's really cool. I mean,
That's awesome.
So that's a cool sequence there. But the gameplay is just as good. You have the same sort of grappling hook mechanic from 4 that you can swing around and do that. The gunplay seems tighter, so I think they refined that a little bit. And the puzzles are good too. I mean, it's all in there from the previous game, except you're getting a different story and different characters that feel different.
One question.
Yeah.
Do you get to play another round of Crash Bandicoot?
No.
God dang it.
No, there's nothing like that. But there is a train sequence, which seems to be in all the games.
Uh-huh.
And the villain this time around is really good too. They did a really good job of putting someone in there that is someone that you can that feels really threatening.
Oh, cool.
There's enough personality in the person so that when they say things or when they're beating on you, you actually feel like you're in trouble, as opposed to just like, well, if I just shot it, fine, I'll just do it again.
Yeah.
Like Lazarevich got towards the end. It's like when he's like throwing grenades and shooting you and shit.
It's like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Just kill me. I'll just start over. We'll do it again. So
sword fight to the death, and I'm burning shit, whatever.
yeah, it is sort of a quick time thing. So it's not really a straight up boss battle at the end. But you and Nadine do it together.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Like, I'm always kind of torn on those, because on the one hand, like, I'd much rather have a straight-up fight,
Yeah.
but quick times do lend to very cinematic endings.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
It
the
looks
thing.
super cool.
Like, with you two taking the guy on, I mean, she gets into shots, and then you get in shots, and then you both hold him, and he's like spouting off his shit, saying, "I'm going to kill you both," and you guys get back in on it. So it's kind of
I mean, the later Saints Row games, 3 and 4, they used a lot of quick time boss battles. The one that really comes to mind, though, I think quick time boss battle is 40K Space Marine, because the very final boss. Game's been out long enough. Spoilers, don't give a shit. Anyways, and it wraps round 40K. You take on a Daemon Prince, and once you get his health down low enough, you start a quick time cutscene as you like beat the shit out of him and rip his head off, while falling like 100 stories.
Oh.
Because you're a goddamn Space Marine captain.
there you go.
Captain Titus of the 2nd Company of Ultramarines, the only Ultramarine really worth a damn. Man's got titanium, adamantium balls of steel.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
I do want to mention one thing for those of you who have played in some of the other games. They did fix that feature, quote unquote, where you can try to collect all the treasures. There is an item you can get if you complete this sort of like very sort of, I don't know, long and sort of drawn out puzzle task, where you get like an item that chimes every time you're near a treasure.
Oh,
Woo!
yeah, an
So-
item finder.
Yeah, an item finder, exactly.
Did you get all the items in this one?
No.
Yeah?
Because sometimes this thing would go off, and it goes off if it's like through rock, of course. So you're looking around, and you don't see anything, but it must be some kind of hidden place or on a level that you can't reach now because you've already jumped down. So
This is why I never beat the Riddler.
it's half frustrating. I never did that either. Like
Yeah.
I got closest on Arkham Knight. That's it.
Like, I love the Riddler as a Batman villain. I could not fight him in any of the fucking games just because, like, either I just wasn't good enough,
Yeah.
or like trying to find the shit. Oh my
It
god,
just takes so fucking long.
collectibles.
Yeah.
Although I will get all the collectible goat statues in Goat Simulator.
There you go.
America's true game.
Attainable goals.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay.
Well, that's all I got for that.
What else? What have you been playing, Slade?
So I restarted Saints Row 2 and Skyrim.
All right.
Um,
His Minecraft version of Skyrim.
No, go fuck yourself. Okay, so here's the thing. My laptop is shit. We're going to start off here. No, maybe I'll start GoFundMe for our listeners. See if
That's
they
a
wanna,
good idea.
See if they want to pit.
You
No,
guys...
GoFundMe is panhandling, so far as I'm
Oh,
concerned.
man, I cry for him. I weep for Argentina
So-
every time I see him.
Okay, so here's the thing. I have a lot of stuff on my Steam account. I cannot play most of the games because my laptop simply can't handle it. It's 6 years old at this point. But I can play a handful of games. And, like, the Portal games. Portals 1 and 2. I can play them fine. They're smooth. It's great. Left 4 Dead, I have slightly long loading times. It's not that bad. It's less than 5 minutes. We're good.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I mean, to load up the initial. I mean, safe rooms, it's like a minute or so.
Dude.
What? It's a minute.
Okay.
It's a safer. I'm watching my statistics. I'm seeing how much damage I did when I shoved the chainsaw up the witch's ass. You know.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like, by the way, chainsaws are a great way to kill witches. You just gotta be good at it.
Killing witches.
I'm a witch hunter.
Killing witches.
But anyways, so my laptop, I did get the Tomb Raider reboot to play.
Yeah. About that.
Now,
What was your FPS?
Wait. Now, so here's the thing. Rah Rah owns the Tomb Raider reboot on PS4.
Yeah.
PS4. And he was standing over my shoulder when I did my initial playthrough of this game. I have beaten it twice since I got it. I did boot it up at one point to show Mr. E. And Yeah, the frame rate is insanely low. The graphics are turned down about as far as they go. And there would be moments where I would there would be moments. Most of the time, I would move my mouse like to the right to try and sight someone in, and have to wait a couple seconds while the computer processed it and Laura moved. But I beat the game that way.
It's pretty remarkable. It's a feat.
One of the smoothest games I have running on my laptop is Skyrim, which is great because I fucking love Skyrim. One of the greatest games I have ever played. I always thought people were overhyping it. I thought it was this is just the new fad game until I finally got my hands on the Legendary Edition. I think that's what they called there. The Legendary Edition. Started playing, and oh my god, I'm such a big fan of this game. And I was playing on my dinner break one day, and Mr. E came into work, and he looked over my shoulder because we got to talk about Skyrim, and he's looking over my shoulder, and he goes, "Wow, that road is just brown." I'm like, and now mind you, I love this game, but I haven't gone on and watched videos of other people playing or anything like that because I just have because I've got my own experience. I just haven't really. I don't really like just watching other people play. I need something behind it, like some comedy or something. I've watched a couple Rooster Teeth funny videos of them screwing around in Skyrim, but not where the point is the scenery. And so I go, well, yeah, it's a road. Isn't it supposed to be brown? And he goes, no, there's supposed to be vegetation everywhere. All the
stones.
But my graphics are turned down so far to the point that the render distance. I was sighting in an elk at one point to shoot with my bow, and the elk ran away because my sneak wasn't high enough, and it hit the render distance and disappeared while we watched it. We watched it fade into existence. Now, one of the moments I am most proud of, though, was there was one point where I sighted an elk, it hit the render distance, disappeared about the same time I let go of the arrow. As it disappeared, it got hit with the arrow, and I just saw an outline of an elk in fire because it had the fire effect going, but the model itself had de-rendered.
That's awesome.
I did actually find the body. It did still deposit the body, cool. So it re-rendered it because it's shit, you caught it. But see, this is what this means is when I finally get a good gaming computer, I'm just gonna be that much fucking better.
It's like the difference between somebody playing on the original PlayStation, like playing Tomb Raider on the original PlayStation, and then them playing, I don't know, like Uncharted on PS4,
or even just Rising Tomb Raider on PS4. It's just so different.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, graphically, yes, but I mean, think of all the skill limitations I'm having to work with. This is like weight training. This is like running with weights on, man.
Bottlenecking my skill, man.
Think about it. The second I get a good gaming laptop, and this thing renders, and I can fucking move my mouse. Dude, this is gonna be awesome.
Aimbot, more like Wavebot.
So I do actually obviously I like good graphics and all that. But to me, I've always been more on the side of gameplay and story, which is why when Grand Theft Auto 4 came out, I actually got into a big argument with a guy I worked with at the time, because he was telling me how great Grand Theft Auto 4 was. Oh my god, it's the most amazing game ever. And I had just picked up, it was about when Saints Row 2 came out, and I picked up Saints Row 2, and I looked into GTA 4 and seen all the stuff about, getting called from your your cousin gives you a call every 10 minutes. You're like, oh, let's go to the bowling alley. Let's hang out. It's like,
take it easy, cuz.
Yeah. It's like, meanwhile, I am having a ball in Saints Row 2, which that's one of my other favorite video game franchises, because it was this quirky, fun game. And yeah, the graphics, it wasn't as pretty.
Right, but it was stupid fun.
It was, oh my god, it was so fun. And that's why, yes, I totally get why people are, oh my god, graphics. And the artists that work on these games have phenomenal skill. I wish I had even a millionth of their art skill, of their graphical skill and all that. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I'll take the plain dirt road, so long as I still get to Fuzroda. As long as I still have Lydia running behind me in full Daedric armor.
That's fair, yeah.
Since we're talking about systems, did you want to dovetail into your question?
Oh, yeah. So, my mother is down in West Virginia right now, and she's in her Yeah, she's aging. I love my
Asian?
mother. No.
She's Asian.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
I wouldn't have
aging.
guessed that from you,
No,
Mr. E.
no.
Yeah, fucking white as rice. That's a
Anyway,
little misleading. Anyways,
the last game that she played seriously, last console game she played seriously was probably Space Invaders. About 30
Hardcore.
years ago. Yeah. And she said she was the boss at it. She said she had so many lives she couldn't die or whatever. I don't know.
Wow.
dude, your mom could defend our planet.
Yeah, I hope so. I believe it. But now she's really bored down there, and she's trying to figure out what system she should pick up and what games she should get. So I've been trying to determine what a person who hasn't played anything more than like Bejeweled on their cell phone in the last 20, 30 years
Right.
should get. And what I've come up to so far is that the Portal games would be good. And
Yep. Skyrim actually, because it's got a lot to explore. It's got puzzles. She said that she wanted to be able to shoot things.
yes,
She can shoot things, and like with Portal, there's
Like shooters shoot things. Like
Yeah.
shooters. Okay.
She wants
yeah.
to-
I mean, like there's a little different. It's a little different when you're drawing back a bow.
Uh-huh.
You know, you're not putting out a rapid rate of fire, but I think she'd still get the action fun of it.
That's a good point.
And while like Portal, yeah, there's a lot of mechanics that you'll eventually have to deal with, but the game introduces them easily enough where you can play around with a couple mechanics and then move on.
Like, I'm not up on the Switch, but is there any type of game for that? Because I know they have a very limited game
Brett-
library. Do they have
They've
something
got like
that?
4 games.
Well, is there anything that's coming
Yes,
out? Or shooters?
Breath of the Wild would be a good one.
But is that a shooter? That's more of a venture game.
Yeah.
That's a straight up.
Yeah, as far as like
That's
a
about as open-
straight up shooter, like
Right.
Call of Duty, Left 4 Dead type of shooter.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
It's an open world RPG.
Nintendo
Yes.
doesn't really do much in that respect.
I mean, the last one that I remember on the Nintendo Wii was Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, that's the one that's coming
Yeah.
to mind.
That's
Yeah.
like, I mean, there were the knockoffs, the bad ones.
Yeah,
I mean, I think she would enjoy Super Mario or a linear Zelda game, possibly.
That's what I'm
She
saying,
might
like
even enjoy Breath of the
side-scroller.
Wild, but I feel like it's too much.
Yeah.
Like, if all you had to do was shoot aliens, and then suddenly...
see that's why. And you said that she's not a big fan of gore, which I can understand, but that's why it's kind of sad because Left 4 Dead would actually be a great shooter for her.
Uh-huh. I think she would enjoy that, because it is, yeah.
Yeah, you get from one safe room to another, pick up a gun, shoot the zombies,
Yeah.
That's a good...
freak out because you walked around a corner and there's a tank.
So not Doom.
Not Doom. No, not right off the bat, anyway.
Yeah.
What would be the better system, though? Would it be PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One? I think she wants... I think she really is in for the graphical part of it. So,
Right.
like, I think she wants it to look
PS4,
semi-realistic.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm biased, but I would say PS4.
Right.
Because it's also...
I mean, I'm biased, too, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to, like... What has the better exclusives for her? Like,
Right.
I'm really into all those Japanese video games that have weird, quirky characters that you fall in love with.
Yeah.
She might be more into, like, a Gears
My
of War
waifu.
character.
Yeah. Well, that's an Xbox exclusive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's tough.
His mom does not need a waifu.
Yeah, no.
That's a tough one, man. You guys also kicked around the idea of like a Steam box, right?
Yeah,
And that sounds really interesting.
because it gives you access to
That's a
everything
good
on
point.
Steam.
Yeah. But if that's the case, then why not just buy a PC?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because maybe she doesn't want to.
She doesn't want to lug it around.
She doesn't want
to
to
button and play.
Yeah, I mean, this is you hook it up to your computer just like or to your TV just like a console.
Mm-hmm.
You have your controller. If you want a keyboard and mouse, you can have that. But
That's
yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For her, that seems like probably the best fit.
I'm gonna bring that up to her.
And then because then this way, she can also still download stuff like Bejeweled.
Yeah, it's true.
Because she can,
Yeah,
you know,
so do all that stuff.
You can get all the little third-party and indie games and stuff like that off Steam when you want them.
Uh-huh.
And Steam does their Steam sales. Your mom's going to spend a lot of money some summer or Christmas. And
If I could get her legitimately interested in
she could buy you games on Steam as presents. and send them to your Steam account.
Man, don't let me dream.
She doesn't even have to wrap them or anything.
That would be pretty cool.
Doesn't have to mail them. She could just be like, boom, here you go, Dawn of War 3.
She's too busy playing to like wrap gifts. She's just gonna click that shit and say, "Happy birthday, Mr. E! Merry Christmas, Mr. E!"
Yeah.
Now leave me alone.
Here's Red Dead Redemption 2.
But Mom, you have to use the bathroom sometime.
She's like, nope. Guy from hospice came and gave me a bedpan.
Right.
She's like sitting there in the living room, like drapes are closed, like bottles of Mountain Dew.
She's like Cartman in that one episode. South Park.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's a cool mom.
She's like the most hardcore person on her street. Like the kids are coming over to her house to get gaming tips.
I am the queen of the squeakers.
She's the one that you're going to hear while playing Destiny 2 over the mic going, "Booyah, bitches! Granny just kicked your ass!"
That'd be pretty rad.
Mom?
So do we want to wrap this one up with like hopeful things that are coming out? Like you mentioned the Astra Militarum Codex. You're looking forward to that.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking psyched for that coming out tomorrow. And also, December 31st, I'm like twitching, waiting for it. Fire Emblem Warriors, which is going to be... It's going to be in the same vein as Hyrule Warriors, the Zelda game. The Zelda Destiny Warrior style game. Just Fire Emblem characters, and like all of the awesome characters I really, really love. Because I'm one of those terrible, trash, new Fire Emblem fans who hasn't gotten around to playing all the old games yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I found a way to play Path of Radiance without fucking dropping $100 on a GameCube disc.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I bought a couple of the old GBA games. So
cool.
getting there. But yeah.
My
yeah,
hopes for better Destiny 2 endgame, and oh boy, there are so many awesome video games coming out because it's that season.
Yeah, that's why I'm rolling
Yeah.
into it. I mean, is there anything like within the next month or two that you might want to pick up?
Oh, jeez. Considering... Okay, so Overwatch Halloween event's coming up. I'll be playing that next week. That's awesome.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
didn't you just say that stuff's not been good lately?
No, it's been good. It's just
Okay.
that the community is wavering in its
Oh, okay.
toxicity.
It's so toxic, Koga made a TM out of it.
What?
Uh,
I get you. I
knew,
got you.
I knew Rah Rah wouldn't get it.
Took me a second, okay? I
Yeah,
got you.
Gen 1 Pokemon, bitches.
Holy shit.
Which, Ultra Sun and Mega Moon or whatever, the new Sun and Moon are coming out.
That's right. That's on my list. I hope that's different enough to draw people in, and by the looks of it, it's got quite a bit more story.
Do we know yet whether there's sequels or remakes of...
It's re-sequel? It's got...
I need to know... all right. I already own Moon. Should I buy the Moon one or should I buy the Sun one?
It sounds like it has a third act, basically. Like, if Pokemon Sun and Moon have a full game and then an end game where you're like collecting legendaries,
Yeah.
this has an act after that full game.
So
So
if I get the Moon, which I can't remember what the Moon one is called. I know it's Ultra Sun. So if I get the Moon one, I'm basically playing through the game I already have, and then an extra act.
yes, but more like, did you ever play Pokemon Yellow?
Yeah.
So it's more like that, where there's more story beats in the game as well.
Right,
So,
right, but
there's-
so by that though, I should really go for the Sun. I should really go for Sun, because that would give me the absolute most new content.
Right.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
okay.
What about you?
Well, of course, I'm hoping for a Tyranid Codex that'll give me more than one way to play Tyranids besides Hordes. Because I don't feel like painting like 150 fucking Gaunts. So, or heavily converting, I should say. So hopefully they have a big bug version, which I'm used to playing. And I actually want to. It's just getting around to doing it. Pre-ordering Evil Within 2, which comes out next week.
Ooh.
So I'm hoping that works. Because I loved the first game, although I reached an impasse.
I completely forgot about Wolfenstein 2. When does that come out? Is that in the spring? Probably.
I don't know.
That's on my list.
Didn't something come out recently, or no? The trailer did.
Yeah, because that looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun with the first one. I played that through twice.
That's not New Order, is it?
Yep.
That's New Order?
Then, oh shoot. Wolfenstein: A New Order, and then Wolfenstein whatever the heck is coming out.
Oh, okay. So I just didn't want to confuse the two.
Maybe.
October.
I don't know.
Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. October.
That's it.
October 27th, 2017.
Dang,
2 weeks from
that's
now.
By the way,
really
I
soon.
want to know, one of the first things that popped up when I did a Google search was a story from Newsweek. Nazi-killing video game Wolfenstein 2 angers Nazis with Make America Nazi-free posters.
Oh my gosh.
Because angry Nazis is a bad thing. No, it ain't. Fuck you, Nazis.
So what are you going to do, man?
I'll probably
That's 2 weeks.
I'll probably end up playing
There you go. Well,
be honest.
3 weeks just about. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I also want to note one of the headlines is Bethesda defends Wolfenstein 2 for being a Wolfenstein game.
Well, it's just a stupid fun game about killing Nazis.
But I
Make
like
America Nazi-free again.
It's like that. It's like why Indiana Jones is so good, because everybody likes Nazis as a foil.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And and the first one had a genuinely interesting, albeit over-the-top story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. After a while, the Nazis did get old because every game was doing World War II with Nazis.
Uh-huh.
Then it kind of went away. We got some different stuff. But now, especially with the cultural shit we got going on, you know what? I want to give Pop some Nazis.
Well, speaking of different stuff, I'm looking forward to Evil Within 2 because of the way they're doing the evil.
Huh?
Like I didn't buy Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, I think that's what it was, the most recent one, because it went from being third person to first person VR essentially, and I like the third person perspective. I don't like the first person so much, but I did watch a Let's Play all the way through, and like the evil in it was represented by this black gunk, which they did really well. It's a beautiful game, and I had a lot of fun watching someone play it. But for Resident Evil 2, the trailers on it, not only is the story going to be good, but the stuff is like white.
Evil Within 2.
Yeah, I mean, like, and usually, what's usually white stuff is usually good, like the guy in the white hat on the horse. You know, what's Gandalf's horse's name?
Shadowfax.
Shadowfax. Isn't it a white horse?
Yes, it is a white horse.
He's Gandalf the White. Well, now white stuff is evil, man.
Whoa!
Which is good for me.
That's nice. Yeah. No, that's actually pretty awesome.
That is pretty cool.
I mean,
Gives it a different aesthetic that you won't see in anything.
yeah, exactly. And it looks like, straight up like shooting mutants and shit, which is what I like. Yeah. So, in a strong horror element, which would made the first one
Strong
really good.
horror element?
Horror element, yes. Horror.
Horror?
Yeah, so I'm really, really looking forward to it. So, if I can get my ass into a game store, I'll pre-order it.
Let me tell you, that will be hard. It is quite large.
The game store?
His ass.
Oh, Mr. E, that's too easy. That's beneath you.
I also
Is
feel
it?
I also feel as the only actual fat guy in the room, I feel like I should be offended.
Aw.
Fucker.
Sad. Well, I guess that's that then, right?
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
If you have any thoughts about what my mom should buy for a console, I know I'm opening it up.
Yeah, you are.
Then please let us know.
Well, that was a pretty straightforward question. For a console, you didn't like, what you can get your mom or...
I got a
Just-
Wiimote for, stuff like that.
I'm
Come
expecting
on.
people to get creative.
Yeah.
Okay. So, shout out to Nerd Podcast Mafia
Yes.
for their help, and to Potter and Family and Podbean, I guess?
Sure.
I don't know any of that
Yes.
shit.
Potter and Family, Nerd Podcast Mafia, Podbean, where we upload our
Oh, yeah, that's
shit.
right, that's right.
God damn it.
Ooh, Yeah,
And yeah,
that's probably it.
thanks for listening. I hope you had some fun. I don't got a good ending here.
This has been the Geek Yoga Podcast. I'm Rah Rah.
Wave.
And Mr. E.
Waka doo doo da.
Thanks.